Hey guys, Lytane here, and I love talking about indie games on my channel, and today's game is a special one for a few reasons. Firstly, Eiyuden Chronicle is a new RPG world that is being created in the same vein as like the Final Fantasy series, or the Dragon Quest series, or probably more accurately, the Suikoden series. That's because the team behind this game, Rabbit and Bear Studio, has Yoshitaka Murayama as the lead story writer and designer. He was one of the creators of the Suikoden games and is now working as the lead story writer and designer for Eiyuden Chronicles, and is even joined by one of the old team members, Junko Kawano, to create something new and magical. And just like any good indie game, it went to Kickstarter for funding and absolutely smashed their goals. One of the stretch goals they hit was to create a small spin-off set before the main game, and this led to Eiyuden Chronicles Rising. Rising acts as the first entry into this series, showing some of the world, the characters, and setting up parts of the plot for the next main game. And this is not actually the first time an indie studio has done this kind of thing either. Bloodstained Ritual of the Night did this with their game Curse of the Moon, which I reviewed if you ever want to go check it out. One thing to consider about this first game though is that it is a smaller game and it does have a different combat system and level design than what the main game is offering. So it's not like a small slice of what the main game is going to be, it is almost a completely different game. So even if you love or hate this game, just remember it won't fully reflect 100 Heroes. So what is Eiyuden Chronicle Rising? Well, you play as CJ, who enters the town of New Nevea in search of treasure. This little town has seen quite a boom in people recently thanks to the discovery and then opening of the Runebarrows. It's kind of like the gold rush, but instead of gold, these catacombs have a rare item called rune lenses, which are buried all over the place. CJ wants to find the biggest one there is, but she isn't alone. Along the way she meets Garoo, who reluctantly starts helping her when they get into a bind together. And what's his motivation, you might ask? It's lots of money. Like, I can relate to these people. One just wants to find the biggest treasure and one wants to be rich. There is one more main character, Isha, the acting mayor of the town. She is trying to make the town prosperous, but is also looking for her father, who mysteriously vanished. Now, I want to get this out of the way right off the bat. The story I just told you is trickled out over the first 5 hours of this game, and that's like a third of the game's length, by the way. I bring this up because this game just kind of starts. Like, there's no setup, no backstory. Hell, CJ doesn't even have a proper motivation right away. Now, I'm well aware that a lot of games have a cold opening so you can get introduced to the world, but this was really jarring, especially because it's a new IP and I had no idea why the main character was even in this town. It doesn't even say anything on the physical game case either, which is just absolutely wild. Now, a simple line or two for a motivation would be so easy to set up as well. Like, CJ could just say something about expecting treasure, so it did not leave a good first impression, if I'm being honest. If any of you out there have played this game and are watching this, let me know if I am wrong, okay? Because I'm pretty sure that the game does nothing at the start to tell you what's going on. But hey, if I'm wrong, let me know and I'll concede the point because maybe I just missed something. It does happen. Now, aside from all of that, let's talk about the actual game. You will control CJ, but eventually unlock Garoo and Isha. All of them can do essentially the same things, walk, jump, and attack, but each character does have a special move. CJ can dash out of harm's way, Garoo can block and counter attacks, and Isha can do a little teleport. And you'll be using all of these types of moves and more in order to explore the world around you, but you will also be doing a lot of fighting. Each character is assigned their own button, and by pressing it, they come out and attack. Each one of them has their own strengths and weaknesses, and if you press the button at the right time, you can chain together attacks, hitting the enemy harder, doing a combo. As you play through the game, you can level up your weapons, unlocking new attacks such as a charged hit or increasing your combo. You can also upgrade your armor, which gives you new movement options in the world, such as a double jump, which is always nice to have in a game. Even with these changes as you level up, the battle system is quite shallow. Sure, chaining together combos can be fun, but it fundamentally stays the same throughout the entire game, and for the most part doesn't offer much of a challenge. I don't know if I was over leveled or something, but aside from some high level encounters and a few bosses, this game is a breeze. The main gameplay loop here is to talk to a person in town and they will tell you to go somewhere, and then you will either get an item or trigger a cutscene at that location. Rinse and repeat this one sentence for the entire game. This extends to all the side quests as well, because each one of them is a fetch quest, and that's just insane. The only difference between these quests are the small amounts of story that you get, which does help flesh out the characters that you meet, but most of these side quests are pretty bland and boring. So half the time I honestly wasn't paying that much attention because it was all kind of similar. Pretty much everything that you do in this game, from the main quests to the side quests, is done in order to upgrade the town with the new things, and to fill out your stamp card, which is very important. This is literally one big checklist for the game, but just like CJ, I would get really excited every time somebody stamped that stupid card. I also get pretty excited when someone stamps my subscribe button. It brings me one step closer to finishing my card for world domination, I mean, to become a real YouTuber. Now, aside from these quests being pretty samey, I personally didn't mind them all that much, as they aren't too hard, but they are a lot of busy work. So if you are into that kind of stuff, you'll probably enjoy that aspect of the game. While you're pretty much still doing fetch quests for the main story, these are significantly better due to the story and characters. I legitimately love the banter between Garoo and CJ as they become friends. Even Isha is a great member to the party and has her own charm. If it weren't for these characters, I would have found the game extremely boring. And even though they carry the story, I have a big complaint about this game because, just like the start, it kind of just ends. Now, I understand that this is setting up the main game, but they leave so many threads open, and it makes the ending feel a little bit empty as it doesn't wrap up what's actually going on in this story. Though I guess this game did its job pretty well, because now I want to get 100 heroes to see where these characters will go and how their stories will continue. The last thing I want to talk about here is the art and music. First, the art is fantastic. I love the level designs, with each area being visually distinct and fantastic parallax scrolling all over the place. It's gorgeous. The character portraits are also beautiful, and they have so much detail. I love them. The characters in game, though, they're pretty good. They all have this unique flair to them, but their movements are kind of like a puppet on a string, with each limb being its own kind of thing. It's a bit strange, but you can get used to it. I know they're using this style in the next game, so I really hope they polish and clean it up to make it look better than what it does here. The music is also pretty good. Each track fits the location where it plays at, and while there aren't many songs, it does help set the mood every chance it gets. Also, the road to this platinum is pretty simple, and it doesn't take too long. You know, just fetch all those things that need fetching to get those stamps, and you're basically at the platinum. So in my opinion, Eiyuden Chronicle Rising is worth it, and I am very excited for this IP and the future it has in store for us. This game, being a bonus demo of sorts, does hold it back from its full potential, but it does showcase where the development shines. That is with the fantastic art, the nice level design of the music, which is good, and more importantly, the characters. Even though I only knew them briefly, I came to like CJ, Garoo, and Isha, and I even like some of the side characters and can't wait to see how their stories will develop. I fully understand if this is not a game for everyone. Even I had issues, mostly with the repetitive gameplay and how the story started without really any context and ended without a full resolution. It's weird. Regardless, it is a solid first entry into a series, and now I can't wait to get 100 Heroes, which, as the time of making this, should be about to release. And if you're watching this from the future, it's already out. Whoa! Now, what did you think about Eiyuden Chronicle Rising? Did you like it? Did you hate it? And did you get this game from Kickstarter or after the fact, like I did? And finally, who was your favorite character? For me, it's CJ, but she does need Garoo because together they are so much fun. Now, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!